Good morning. Good morning. I tell you, it's a good morning. It's a good morning. It's a good morning. I woke up. I was in a good frame of mind. Good, what I call consciousness for saying what I need to do today. Um, and I'm happy. I'm happy. And the day's question is, use or used? And sometimes we don't know the difference. We can use something, and then some other times people or things are using us for whatever the reason. Good morning, T. And so we want to talk about the word of used. You know, I kind of keep track of what's going on in the world in the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of being at home, in the middle of my decluttering and getting to the point where I feel like I'm in control and it isn't. I always think about, wow, using my time and using my space and using my mind, using my heart. And sometimes we don't realize that we've overused or we've been overused in so many things. But it's hard for us to get down to why we do it. Um, and I ask myself that question: why do I do that? Why do I love? Good morning, Diana. Good morning, Carolyn. Why do I get all kind of involved with with wanting to do so much for other people? And I know that I am a servant. I realize that, and sometimes our servitude gets beyond our ability to rope things back in when they need to be corralled. Sometimes we just don't do it. We don't know how to do it. And so we end up continuing the same vein of just allowing ourselves to be used. And so I got a poem for you this morning, and I have some questions, but we're going to break the word down too, just to really talk about what using does to us. Write in there if you've ever been used, or write in there if you are a user. Because sometimes we know we're using other people, but we're not honest about it. We don't let them know or catch on, and they could. Because sometimes we give people an option, but our prayer is that they don't. They say, "Yeah, I'll still do it. Yes, don't worry about it. You got me." So be honest. If you've ever used people, we all have. We all have, and sometimes our need is so desperate. That's what we need to do. We need to stay within our need. We're not necessarily staying within our heart. We're conscious about what we're doing, but we still need people, and so sometimes we need to use them to get things done. And I mean, we're all a part of that. None of us can say we're not. And it's not saying that it's a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing when it's an excessive thing, or it's a bad thing when they do more for you and you do nothing for them, or vice versa. To me, being used should be like reciprocated. You use me, I use you, and we're both benefiting. But sometimes the scale is off and it's unbalanced, and you don't quite get there, on what it could be, what could be occurring. So, I'm going to read you a poem, and this poem was written by Maud. I don't know who Maud is. I mean, the name, it says from Maud, but it also says it was from Alfred Lord Tennyson. I think he is the author, but I don't know who Maud is. So just don't hold me fast on that one right there. But it says, but the broad light glares and beats, and the shadow fits and fleets, and will not let me be. And I loathe the squares and streets, and the faces one meets, hearts with no love for me. Always I long to creep into some still cavern deep, there to weep and weep and weep my whole soul out to thee. The poem is really interesting to me because I felt I felt it was talking about the disappearance of somebody because of not being seen, not being recognized, not being noticed. Um, and then sometimes we can do just the opposite of that. We use people and we still don't see them, don't recognize them, don't notice them for anything but what I call the background work. You know, any big production, if you ever seen any big productions, the production cannot go on unless somebody helped in the background. And not always are they what I call fair about the background workers. Um, Anytime I've ever done projects, with, my event business, or, even if I'm dealing with something when I was working, I always thank those who helped me because, good morning, Anthony, and Shelby. It just made it important to me to thank people. I don't want people to feel that they're being used. I don't want people to feel that they are that they're not worth, that their time and their effort and their, contribution to whatever the project is, that it has worthiness to it. So they need to be thanked. They need to be dealt with. So anyway, that was by Alfred Tennyson, Alfred Lord Tennyson. So anyway, when we talk about use, it says is to take hold or deploy something as a means of accomplishing something for a purpose, trying to get a certain result. And so a lot of times the projects that we do, we need other folks to help us with them. And so there's an end result that we're looking for. And so to use somebody obviously is to utilize them, to make use of what it is that they have, and certainly in some instances to employ them. So that talks about the whole concept of use. But sometimes we overuse. We just overuse people. We just get to that point. So I'm going to break down the word. And breaking down the word, we start with you. And use talks about usual. Now, haven't you gone back to somebody over and over and over again because they do things the way you need them done? They might be quick. They might be always accurate. They might be on time. All those things that get us used to wanting. Sorry, the dog heard somebody outside. I guess he didn't like it. It was too unusual for him. But anyway, this is in speaking of usual, talks about, habitually or typically occurring or done. It says it's usually customary, ordinary, accustomed to, wanted. It says it's normal, it's a routine, it's standard, it's daily, it's typical. It's fixed and it's recognized. It's set, it's settled, it's traditional, and it's expected. All those things talk about things that are usual. And so we go back to what we were used to, and it becomes comfortable to us. It becomes a necessary thing for us. Gucci, be quiet. Be quiet. Sorry. Gucci gonna have another moment because I know they're still out there. But anyway, all those things talks about why we end up going to the same sources or people or resources that we become used to using. And so that makes it very comfortable for us. We like it. It fits us. It fits our, whatever it is that we're trying to get done, whatever that could be. And then we want to move on. It talks about being sensitive. That's the S in use. Usually when you're talking to somebody or dealing with a certain project, you're sensitive to what it is that you have to get done, but you're also sensitive to what you need and who you need to help you get it done. So you talk about the quickness. It says quick to detect or respond to a slight change. It's the signals, it's the influences, it's the quick response, it's in tune with, it's the consciousness, it's suspicious of, you say, I think they'll do it, but let me try this out. Let me ask them again, will they do it? It's the aware of, and it's the reaction to, it's the easily affected by, and it's to attend to. And the interesting thing about being sensitive is that sometimes you're so in tune with somebody that you're sensitive to what it is that you know they will do because they care for you, because they love you, because you're part of their lives. You know, that's what happens when people have really gotten into you being, you know, a friendship or a love ship or a kindship, whatever it is. They're right there with you, so you understand that they're in a position sometime to be used, and so are you. So are you. And as I said, use or used. You know, and sometimes you have to do the balance. Am I using it? Am I doing this because I want to be used like this? Or are they using me because they need me, but I get nothing in return? You know, you have to ask yourself the question. And the last letter in our word of use is ease. A lot of times when you have somebody that you're dealing with in terms of being used or you're used, it says it's an ease with it. It's an absence of difficulty. I'll go to them. They're not going to say anything. They'll be glad to help me. And a lot of times we are. Look, let's get it straight. We are. We're happy to help people. But sometimes that ease also talks about redefining what it is. Are they being used properly? Or are you using the fact that you know them that well, sensitive, and it's usual that they would respond yes, that you make it easy? And so it says it's the absence of difficulty when you have ease or effort. It's the simplicity of it. It's the facility of it. It's the dexterity of it. You know, the fact that it's just easy to maneuver. You can sometimes maneuver people just like you can maneuver pieces. You know, you can't always maneuver places, but you can maneuver people. It says it's the mastery of it, because ease is also, there's a certain mastery to it. It's proficiency. You know, it says no trouble, effortless, just no trouble. I can go to them, they'll say yes. You know, and have you put yourself ever in a position where you don't want to say yes, but you say yes anyway? Good morning, Janice. You say yes anyway, regardless. It's okay, even if you don't want to do it. And sometimes you have to realize you have to exercise your right to say no. And then make a determination. Do I want to be used like that today? Do I want to be tied up like that? Do I want to spend all that time there and there's no money, there's no thank you, there's no anything? I don't know. You know, put it in there. But anyway, it talks about just ease, having the ability. It's just no contest. I'm going to go to Sandy and she's going to say yes. I'm going to go to Joan. She's going to say yes. I'm going to go to Henry. He's going to say yes. It's no big deal. You know, we'll get this done. And a lot of times people will have already counted you in on helping them and they never ask you. And then when the event it's time, next thing you know, they say, oh, I thought I told you about this. Good morning, Kurt. I already told you about this, and they didn't. So you're in on what it was easy for them to do, which was ask you, but they didn't tell you until the day before, the night before, the day before, the day of, and all of a sudden you're involved in doing something that you really didn't plan to do because it wasn't on your schedule. And that's how sometimes we can get being used versus allowing ourselves to want to be a part of it, wanting to be a part of it. Kurt, it's so good to see you in the space, in my little space this morning. Thank you so much. So when we talk about being used, we want to talk about, are we using it for ourselves and them, or are they using us for their use and then that's it? And sometimes people will dismiss you from the ceremony, but they need you to put the stage together, to put up all the things that need to be, stationed, everything. You're in the background. And that's why I said it's just so important to me to make sure that whoever helped me, I have to say thank you. I have to, because I may need them again. And I don't want it to be so usual that I can ask and they'll always answer. I want it to be that when they answer, they want to do it. And we don't always do that. We're not always sensitive, which is the S of use. We're not always sensitive of letting people come in and say, hey, can I help you with that project? I don't mind. I want somebody to say, hey, you getting ready to put on an event. Can I help you be a part of that? Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. And listen, whatever I make, you will get a portion of that. That means that's letting the person know that, one, you've considered them to being a part of the team, and two, you've also said, and you will be compensated. But how many projects have you ever worked in your life and people never said thank you and they never paid you, but it was your time? And it was a lot of time. I mean, sometimes the projects are bigger than the number of people that work. You all know that. You know it. And so to have an opportunity to say thank you and then do it also in a form of a payment, which I spoke about yesterday, being understanding your worth as receiving pay for what you do, I just think that's important. I do. I feel that you have to have a balance. You have to have a balance on not just friendship, but kindness, understanding, awareness, being sensitive to what people are doing. When people give you their time, to me, time is valuable. Sometimes I'd rather give you money, I'm going to be honest, than give you my time. Because time I can't get back. Money I can make again. I can never get my time back. And so to give you my time means I'm giving up a lot. Because I could have been doing something else that not just benefited you, but benefited more people than you. Okay, and also benefited myself. I speak to that whole concept of yes, being appreciated. There it is, T. Thank you. People like to be appreciated. Sometimes appreciation and statement of appreciation goes higher than actually getting the money for something. It just touches people. People can be what I call touched by love, touched by joy, touched by kindness, just because you said something that acknowledged the fact that you appreciated the work that they did with you or for you. Because sometimes you think you're the only warrior because you're doing more on the job or on that project than they're doing because they need to be the lead. And I understand that. I get that. But if you don't say thank you, if you don't say that they're appreciated, if you don't acknowledge them, then sometimes that's when hurt feelings begin and friendships or kindships fall apart. They just do. People are human. They're just people. And people want to know that whatever they do for you, that it is appreciated. So getting down to my questions for today on use or used, understanding, that sometimes we are in a mood that we need to use someone's assistance, and the other time we have been put in positions where we have been used, meaning that's it. There may be nothing else that comes with it. They were just needed. Good morning, Lawson. Good morning, Rosie. We're just used, and so we have to understand that that's the way it comes. And so here it says, do you usually allow others to use you? And if you're honest, I want you to write that down. Not in the thread, write it down for yourself. You can say yes, one particular person or two people or everybody who uses you, And my question is why? Why? I know for myself a lot of times it may be my kid, maybe my offspring. Sometimes that's the only place we can go back to is we can go back to somebody that birthed us. It always, and I never used my mother, but my mother was always sensitive enough. There's that S to always say, Sandy, do you need anything? And rarely did I ever need anything. Rarely. I mean, she would try to give me stuff and I would say no. So sometimes you also have to be sensitive enough to say no, so that they don't get the idea that you only come back because you want to use them. I don't want that. That for me, that's not my walk. This question number 2 is, are you sensitive to yourself and others about your over or underuse of them? Are you sensitive enough? Sometimes we're not. It's like, yep, need you on Monday, need you on Tuesday, need you on Wednesday. I got something to do on Thursday, but I need you on Friday. I mean, that's just the way they do. Some people need you every day. And and you rally, and you rally, and you rally. And question number 3, is there an easiness about you that gives people too much access? An easiness. Do they ease right into? Yeah. Sandy will do this for me. No big deal. We're cool. No big deal. I need her today. She gonna come. And don't get me wrong, I probably will come. But now I also put parameters on stuff. So sometimes you can realize that you're being used. But if you put some, what I call some brakes on it, say, yep, I can only work with you until 12 noon. That's it. Yep, can only do that until 5 o'clock. Gone after that. Because people will get you to do overtime with them at no cost. And you do it. You do it because it might be the friendship or the loveship, the kindship, whatever. You do it. Or it might be the partnership because they work, you work in the same place and you're real close. And the last thing is, what is the level of your use? Not you're using yourself for others and using others. What's the level? Is it high? Do you need everybody for everything? And how have you done during pandemic time? Where there's probably less possibility that you're going to get many people to come, near you to do anything. I was looking around and I need some things done. And the Terminex man called yesterday and said that he would be by on Friday. And he said, do you need anything on inside the house? No, can't get in my house, Mr. Terminex man. But outside, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The ants, all of that, everything that's outside, I don't want to bring it in. So yes, you can do that. But, life is slowly creeping back in. You understand that things are going back to the new normal, whatever that new normal is for you. But in doing so, you also recognizing that I still do not feel secure enough that I can let them in. Okay? And that's it. That's it. You don't want to let them in. So today's word was use or used. And write your notes down there, right? Write you some notes about your level of allowing people to use you or you being used or you using others. Because to me, it can go any way. It can go back and forth, up and down, Used a little, used a lot. It doesn't matter. It's all talking about use. So anyway, write those things down. I'm hoping that you have your corona journals, anything. The dollar one from the dollar store, or you can go through Candy Publishing, and they also have some journals. And just enjoy the time that you have to do some writing and get in touch with your use. Get in touch with your pay. Get in touch with your goals. Get in touch with your rise, your fall, all of those kinds of things that really talk about how you can come out of this and go into your next thing and do it well. Do it well. No criticisms from you or anyone else. None. And today I want to wish my friend Miss Rosie Shedrick happy birthday. It came up on my timeline on Facebook before I started today. So happy birthday to you. And I'm going to ask all of you, are you stuck? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. We're all stuck. We are all stuck. Even if it's just temporary. But guess what? It's okay. It's okay. You got time to work on it. Use this time right now. I will see you tomorrow. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. Even if you're someplace and the sun isn't shining, shine within yourself. Shine to the people that are around you. And look, if you go out, do cover up. Wear your mask, wear your gloves, and try to stay away from people. Don't do 6, do 10. 10 feet apart, okay? Love you very much. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.